AMD, you gotta be flipping my flapjacks, ladies and gentlemen. AMD shareholders, are you having a little bit of fun out there? Look at this, $45,000 up today on AMD stock, now sitting on $361,000 of gains in the public count on AMD. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this move is early. We're early on this move in regards to AMD. AMD carrying the public count to a new record high, $4.142 million. Congratulations to everybody watching this that is hitting all-time highs in your guys' portfolios. That is absolutely amazing, right? And this is one of those markets right now you're in where we cannot control what happens to the stock market short term, right? Stock market's a roller coaster ride. But what we can control is how much money we're putting in our portfolios and what type of stocks we're buying into, right? And if you focus on those two things, you can go really far in this game, right? Because this stock market to us is like the best stock market ever because we're positioned into the right stocks, right? In this video here today, this is an AMD only video. So if you're an AMD shareholder, you're interested in AMD stock, this is the video for you. This is going to be a banger here today. I'm going to make the case that this move on AMD stock is early. Very early, as in like we're in like the second or third inning of a 9-inning game here, okay? And I'm going to explain all that in depth. I'm going to share with you how much upside is left in AMD in regards to this move and how long this move will last, okay? I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. There's one thing and one thing only I need from you guys. I'm recording this video on a Friday evening. The only thing I ask from you, if you could please just smash that like button. If you could just hit that little thumbs up button, that would mean the world to me. I hope it's not too much to ask. Thank you for that. Additionally, everybody that's subscribed to the channel, thank you for being subscribed. If you like my videos, you want to see more of my videos in the future, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're subscribed, higher probability YouTube will show my videos in the future. If you're not subscribed, you might not see the next AMD video. You might not see the next video when I'm talking about some new stock I bought. Those sorts of things, okay? So make sure you subscribe here to the channel as well. I want to invite you, if you're an AMD shareholder, I want to invite you to join us in the private stock group. We've got an incredible AMD community, arguably the best AMD community out there. Today was a celebration day, right? Everybody's celebrating here today, but this is a community where we keep up with everything going on with AMD, share numbers in regards to AMD. Just literally, about an hour ago or two, I posted this. AMD shareholders, let's do something fun this weekend. Let's post in the AMD chat all our bull case, bear cases, and base cases for AMD stock. So you definitely want to join us in there if you like AMD stock. Also, you get access to all of my course curriculums, every single one of them. Plus, there's exclusive weekly videos, and you get your Steel membership card sent to you when you join us in there. 1000X Steel membership card, the private group Steel membership card. Oh, yes, baby. And then if you join us on a lifetime basis, we'll send you the Steel membership card for lifetime as well, which that's a beautiful, beautiful card. I keep it in the plastic all the time, okay? That will be the pinned comment to join us in there. Keep in mind, we're now up to 2,668 members in the private group. Demand has been overwhelming this year. I can't do this again. I can't do this again. So we will be limiting how many people join us in 2026. We're going to do two things. One, $100,000 plus net worth to get in the private group, but you can't join us in there. Two, we're going to be going up on price significantly next year for new members. Significantly. So, moral of the story is if you want to get in there before the massive price increase, if you want to get in there before we go up to 100K plus net worth, pinned comment down there, click on that, fill out a form. Let's get you in there, get you up to a much higher level, okay? Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, listen up. AMD is an extremely important position for me. I've been banging my hand on the table for the last 9 months or so on AMD stock, right? Incredible opportunity, one of the best opportunities I've seen in the market, certainly in 2025 at least, okay? I'll say it like that. And this is a very important position for me, now sitting on a $646,000 position in the public count. This is one of my biggest private portfolios. I have $505,000 of AMD in that private portfolio, so about $500,000 there, sitting on $302,000 of gains. So add up those together, and we're approaching $700,000 of gains, right? And then not only that, my Patreon. Remember, that's different than my private stock group, but my Patreon, that's usually for newer folks. The market don't have much money invested yet, things like that, right? My Patreon's very popular, but I think I got the 6th most popular financial related Patreon in the world now at this point in time. That's the biggest position for me in the Patreon portfolio. at a 16.6% weighting. It is now my fourth best performing stock as on a percentage basis. The only stocks beating that are SoFi, Shopify, and Palantir. So it's very important stock to me. I've got big money in my private portfolios. I've got big money in the public account, which is available for everybody in my private stock group to see every move I make. And it's my biggest position in the Patreon portfolio. So AMD matters significantly to me, right? Now, what stock am I showing you right now? I'm showing you a stock back from 2015, 2016. What did we find with this stock? This was a $1 to $2 stock. What stock was that? That was $1 to $2 10 years ago. The one you're looking at, AMD. Yes, that is how bad it was at AMD. Listen, you go in the gulag. The gulag's a stock that goes under $5. That's basically the market saying, it's not looking good for you. You go down to $2, $1, you become a $2 chuck. You go under $2 chuck, they're basically saying you're done. You're going bankrupt. You're going to zero. Robert De Niro, last action hero. You're Dunsky, right? And then what happened? Lisa Su pulls off the miracle of miracles, completely pivots the business, and now AMD, I believe today crossed around a $400 billion market cap or something like that, right? Incredible. And AMD is likely on its way to becoming a $1 trillion plus company. And think about this. This was a company 10 years ago that was on the verge of bankruptcy, ladies and gentlemen. Bankruptcy. To now the company at the center of the universe. Have the tides changed? Unbelievable. So the reason I point this out to you is you got to understand Lisa Su has pivoted the business before and got them on the right trajectory for growth. And I'm about to take you through the pieces of how Lisa Su has now pivoted the business again and put them on the right track for exponential growth for the next number of years. This dates all the way back to 2022 to put these pieces in place. In 2022, they finished up the acquisition of Xilinx. Now, Xilinx was very important for AMD, not just from the product side, and it's a big revenue company, a big growth company, and the margins and the profitability and those sorts of things, right? All the financial things you would get from an acquisition like that. And if I recall, it was like a $50 billion acquisition. But Xilinx had one of the most respected teams of engineers and folks working for that company of just about anybody in the space. So when AMD made that acquisition, it wasn't just about a product, a service. It was about a team that could develop many new products and services and help AMD push growth forward in many years to go in the future, right? So when that deal closed at 2022, that wasn't even really the start of it. Like a lot of the products and services you're going to see now and over the next few years, a lot of the top players at Xilinx had a hand in that. So that's something important to keep in mind. In 2024, they make another acquisition that's extremely important to put AMD in a position to really battle Nvidia in 26 and beyond. And that was the acquisition of ZT Systems. You could not compete with Nvidia the way Nvidia is competing in regards to being a one solution. We're going to take care of everything for you. You couldn't really do that without making that acquisition, in my opinion, of ZT Systems and getting that team there as well. This really put AMD in a position to really battle Nvidia for the next 5-10 years. And remember, a lot of people already want to say Nvidia won the war. Nvidia's won the battle, but this is a war that's going to go on for the next 10 years. This isn't like, this is just whoever won in 2025 is whoever won. No. This is going to be a 10-year battle between Nvidia and AMD, right? Like this is a long-term thing. And these are two companies with very different strategies. And we're going to find out who's going to have the best strategy in the end in regards to this matter, right? Now, another acquisition, I think this is such an important acquisition that people didn't talk about this. This was like so on the DL. And this was an acquisition that went through last summer. And I think it's extremely important to where AMD is going in the future. AMD completes acquisition of Silo AI to accelerate development and deployment of AI models on AMD hardware. Very important. This Silo AI company, this was the largest private AI lab in Europe. The largest private AI lab in Europe. End-to-end AI solutions based on open standards. We know AMD's really trying to go with the open approach. Very different than Nvidia. Nvidia is trying to be more walled garden. Nvidia is trying to be more Apple-esque. And AMD's over here saying, You guys can do that, but we're going to go after the big market share long term. Remember, Android has 80% plus market share? That didn't mean Apple was a bad company or bad investment. They just had a different approach. And Google went with a different approach, right? And so when you look at Nvidia and you look at AMD, understand these two companies are going with different approaches in the marketplace. And Nvidia is going more of an Apple type approach, and they can still be phenomenal and very successful with that. AMD is going a little bit more of an Android approach, a Google type approach, and understand they can be extremely successful with that as well. And it's a potential that AMD long term could end up with even more market share than Nvidia. And AMD could eat in that market share significantly over the next 5 to 10 years. Remember, this is not just a 1-2 year battle. This is going to be a war that's fought for a long time. Now, additionally, you see something like this. This just came out 12 hours ago. AMD reportedly establishes $280 million silicon photonics hub. I'm not the best at pronouncing certain words, okay? In Taiwan, new R&D center could accelerate company's co-packaged optics roadmap. Continue to push forward. They've done 3 acquisitions over the summer. This InnoSemi, Brium, Untethered AI, all these little acquisitions that no one really talks about, but Lisa Su's not just doing these for the fun of it. There's specific people working at those companies. There's specific services and products and strategies that she wants to implement into AMD that's going to help AMD over the next 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, 8 years. It's not just about, can you do for us in 2025? It's about getting these teams to work at AMD and getting those incredible, talented individuals to come up with game-changing products and services that we'll see 3 years from now, 5 years from now, things like that, right? Now, additionally, AMD, listen, they are at the center of the universe, making relationships and partnering with the best companies in the world that you would want to be partnering with, right? Look at something like this. 2 big techs combined. IBM and AMD team up to develop hybrid quantum-centric supercomputing. Very, very exciting. The center of the universe for the whole AI wave has been what company? OpenAI. ChatGPT launches, that takes off, and that changes everything forever in regards to AI, right? And that changes NVIDIA's roadmap, that changes AMD's roadmap, all those sorts of things, right? AMD and OpenAI announced strategic partnership to deploy 6 gigawatts of AMD GPUs. I mean, this is just a ridiculously huge deal in regards to AMD and what this means for AMD's revenues moving forward. But what this does for AMD's brand is more important than anything. You got OpenAI saying, we want your products and services. We want to have a very close relationship with you. They've worked, from my understanding, they've worked like this on the 400 series together, right? That's basically saying, if the company that is seen as a leader in AI is saying, we're going all in, AMD, why would you not? Everybody else has to fall in line in that situation. If you're the leader in the world in AI saying, we're going this route, everybody else says, dang, AMD's got it like that, right? But AMD serves a very important purpose to all these big tech companies. It's not just about the great technological advantages AMD products can give you. It's about undercutting NVIDIA's pricing and ultimately being able to keep NVIDIA at bay with their pricing. Because if NVIDIA has no competition, NVIDIA can charge whatever they want. And they've been able to push their net income margins to levels that we've never seen in history. That we're like, what? This is making even companies like Google and Meta look like they're not that profitable, right? And that's something else when you can do that. Because NVIDIA has been able to stand there and say, you pay us ridiculous money and we'll sell you this thing. Don't pay it, you got nowhere else to go. That has all changed now at this point in time. The 355 series is out there in production, and the 400 series, that's the first, I think, real product that competes head on with NVIDIA's top of the line. And so now, NVIDIA no longer in 26 and moving forward is going to be able to say, we're just going to charge whatever we want to charge, because now they actually got competition. So AMD is a very important chess piece in regards to this whole AI game that's going to play out over the next decade. Keep that in mind. Like, I would call AMD, if we can call NVIDIA the king piece, AMD is the queen in regards to this, because they're important in regard, they're actually much more important than the king, because they're the ones that they're the ones that can make this whole thing work. If NVIDIA is able to just charge whatever price they want to these companies, the companies are eventually going to run out of money, where they're not going to be in a situation where they could even invest into the chips they really need to make their products and services in the future. That's why I call AMD really the queen piece of this whole chess set. And the deeper you go on this little rabbit hole, the more you realize, oh my gosh, like OpenAI needs AMD to succeed massively. Meta needs them to succeed. Google needs them to succeed. Tesla needs them to succeed. Elon Musk, everybody needs AMD to succeed. Otherwise, likely you won't be able to put out the products and services you want, because Nvidia is just standing there like, we want to charge $100,000 for this super advanced chip. Pay us $100,000. What are you going to do if you got nowhere else to go? You got to pay it, right? Now, additionally, AMD and Oracle are expanding their partnership to provide more hardware for the Oracle infrastructure cloud. Oracle will deploy AI supercluster with 50,000 AMD Instinct MI450 series GPUs, with deployments beginning in the third quarter of 2026 and expanding into 2027. This deal builds on the existing collaboration, which includes the use of AMD's Instinct MI300X and then the 355 series, which just went into production very recently. But we can tell everybody wants a 450 series, which means very good things for AMD's not only revenues starting next year and specifically the back half of the year, but ultimately the margins as well. Because AMD's got a big kind of middle room where they can increase prices significantly on this 450 series versus the 350 series if they want, but still undercut Nvidia. That's a beautiful thing, and that's why I tell you guys, Nvidia is AMD's best friend. AMD is Nvidia's worst enemy. There's a big difference. Big difference in regards to this whole situation, right? And Jensen doesn't like what's going on here. I could tell the way he was speaking about that OpenAI deal and AMD giving part of their company after Nvidia just invested money into OpenAI, and then all of a sudden OpenAI is like, we're going to buy all these Nvidia. Jensen doesn't like this. Meta, one of the other most important companies in the world that you got to be in with, right? Meta and AMD have significant partnerships focused on AI infrastructure, with Meta using the AMD EPYC CPUs and Instinct GPUs to power its data centers and AI services like Llama 4. And keep in mind, you know who's going to be a big customer of the 400 series? It's going to be Meta. Meta's going to end up being a big customer, one of the biggest customers out there. What about Google? You want to be partnered with Google? AMD and Google have strategic partnerships where Google Cloud uses AMD's EPYC processors to power its virtual machines for a wide range of workloads, including general purpose, compute, optimize, and AI tasks. Guess who's going to be a big customer of the 400 series? I think it's going to be Google. Elon Musk, just last month, actually had some words about AMD. He talked about AMD is now working pretty well for small and medium-sized models, right? Elon Musk has always had a very close relationship with Jensen over there at Nvidia, obviously, right? But even Elon Musk is like, dang, AMD is starting to become actually a player here. Like they're actually, like he's starting to have a lot of respect for AMD now at this point in time, right? Just wait till he gets his hands on the 400 series and what happens there, right? And Elon Musk is a very important player in this market, not just through Tesla, but through XAI and other companies as well. So very important. You want to be in with somebody like Elon as well, right? Look at this here. Build AI anywhere with the ROCm software. AMD and Microsoft bring cloud to clients. This just came out back in May. Client power to developers. You want to be in with Microsoft as well, right? Sony and AMD teased the GPU, their tech they're building on for the next PlayStation. Exciting. What about the next Xbox? Oh, Xbox and AMD advancing next generation of gaming together. This is back from June, right? So next generation PCs. We're talking AMD and how they push that forward. Who is AMD not hooked up with? They're with everyone. They got a relationship with Microsoft. They got relationships with Sony. They have relationships with Meta, with Google, with Elon Musk, right? And his companies, like they're in with everybody you want to be in with. And they're just going to get closer and closer in regards to this whole situation, right? Now, you look at the run in AMD stock. It's been significant. The stock year to date is over doubled, right? Crazy. Great year, right? Like if we can all get into a stock that doubles every year, like I think we'll be doing all right for ourselves, right? Big run. But keep this in mind, right? Look at a stock like Palantir. Palantir was kind of a thrown away stock, just like AMD was, where no one was taking it serious. Then all of a sudden, Palantir starts to come in with major growth rates, and all of a sudden people are like, wait, this Palantir is kind of impressive. Oh my gosh, like, wait, they got some actual great products and services in the market. Oh, they're actually becoming a very important company, right? And everybody starts to rush into them. So look at how much that stock's up this year. 145%, actually significant outperformance over AMD, right? But that was after the stock was up 300+% just last year. And after the previous year, the stock was up 170+%. So you look at somebody like myself sitting on like a 2,000% gain on Palantir, like these stocks, when they go through this sort of cycle, it has a multi-year move. It's not just some 6-month move or 9-month move. When you had a company that was thrown out, and then all of a sudden they start coming in with the growth rates, the products and service, everybody starts to respect it, they go through a multi-year move. It's not like this is just some little short-term thing and then it's done. No, it's a multi-year move, right? I want to show you this because I think it's very important for context around AMD and its stock. From Q4 2021 through now, AMD has barely beat the NASDAQ. If you want to know how early on in this move we are, this is pretty interesting, right? AMD, since that fourth quarter of 2021, stock's up 63%. The Qs are up 57%. It's barely outperformed the Qs in regards to this matter, right? I think that's pretty darn significant, right? What I'm showing you right now is Meta stock. Meta stock was another perfect example of a stock that was thrown out, and then all of a sudden they started coming through with the numbers, and everybody's like, oh! From the fourth quarter of 2022 to the first quarter of 2025 on that massive move Meta had, Meta stock went up 450%. 450%. The 2 to 3 year moves, when you're talking about a company that's been thrown out to start reporting great growth rates, which is exactly what AMD has. Company that was thrown out, people were I listened to Stacy Razcon on the Reaction channel, Jeremy Lefebvre makes money, right? Always reacting to these Wall Streeters. I listened to that man, it was just like in the last 3 to maybe 6 months or so. I reacted to a video where he said, I don't even know if we need AMD, right? So disrespectful. Like people were just throwing that stock out. They like it was a nobody. Like no one cared about them. They were irrelevant is how the Wall Streeters would pitch them. They're an irrelevant company. Doesn't look that irrelevant anymore. Doesn't look that irrelevant anymore, right? And so we got a situation here where this stock's likely going to go through a 2 to 3 year run that's going to be incredible. And that's what these sorts of stocks do that are thrown out and then start reporting great growth rates, right? And as we witnessed, obviously, with Meta and countless others. Look at SoFi. SoFi is another great example. You have people trampling over themselves to pay nearly $30 for this stock now at this point in time, right? Up another 3.3% here today, up another $4,600 on SoFi. I'm now up 250% in the public count on SoFi. And that was a small position for me, right? I was buying the stock at this time last year, October of last year. You know how much I was paying for for the SoFi shares? $7. $7 I was paying for SoFi stock at this time last year. And now that stock, people are running over themselves to pay close to 30. Don't be surprised that SoFi is over 30 before you know it, right? Especially if they come through with insane growth rates again next earnings. Isn't that incredible? That's how fast it can shift. Where people are like, we don't, like people didn't care about SoFi stock last year, like $7 stock. I wouldn't even pay $7 for that stock. Those same people that wouldn't pay $7 for the stock last year are now willing to pay $29. It's incredible how fast things can shift in regards to the market, in regards to these stocks. People don't care about it. They start coming through with the growth, and all of a sudden people are like, maybe there's something here, right? What do you think AMD is about to have? Massive acceleration of growth. And as that growth accelerates quarter after quarter after quarter, people are going to say, people will be running over themselves to buy AMD at 300, at 400. The same exact people that back in April wouldn't pay $85 for the stock. The same people that a few months ago said, I wouldn't buy AMD at 110 will be the same people buying at 300, running over themselves. Oh, 330? Give me it, right? ELF's another great example. That's a stock I'm up 1,586% on the public count, right? ELF was a forgotten, kicked around stock that I bought for $7 back in 2019, right? No one cared about ELF. They were reporting bad numbers. People thought they were irrelevant in the marketplace, and they turned the ship around. Terang did a phenomenal job with the company, and now people are willing to pay $122 for that stock. And won't be long, people will be willing to pay $200 for that stock. Can change quick. Very, very quick in regards to stock market, right? Celsius, another perfect example. Look at that stock at $63 now, right? We're up 159% on that stock, up $155,000, up another $5,600 today. Look at this stock this year. I'm not taking you back 6 years ago. I'm not taking you back 12 months ago. I'm taking you back just a few months ago. I was buying Celsius shares for $21.95. I was buying Celsius shares for $22.99. This year, just back in February, people threw Celsius out. And then all of a sudden, Celsius makes a deal. They turn around the business. The growth rates explode. And now people are running over themselves to pay 63. It won't be long. And then people will be running over themselves to pay 100 for it. All-time highs for Celsius. It can happen quick in regards to the market, right? So let me share my bull case, base case, bear case in regards to AMD and kind of where I see the stock going. And we'll talk a little deeper about the move from here, essentially, okay? So we're looking at 1000xstocks.com, right? This is where I run all my projections for all my companies. I'm looking at my bull case here. So this is if things go a little better than I expect. This would be a situation where the company does 40% revenue growth on average per year over the next 4 years. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, if you look at Nvidia's revenue growth from 2022 to what it's going to be 2026, they're going to average a far faster clip than 40%. So I have AMD's best case scenario under my scenarios still being far inferior to Nvidia. So keep in mind, if they were to post any sort of numbers around what Nvidia has posted for revenue growth, then they would blow away even my bull case, and we'd be talking about a stock that will be $1,000 plus probably within the next 24 months. But I'm not taking it that far, okay? My bull case has 40% revenue growth per year on average in the next 4 years. 50% net income growth puts them at net income margins of 22%. Check out Nvidia's net income margins that company's been posting. Like, we're talking Nvidia's been like doubling up those sorts of net income margins. So even as this company gets way more profitable, my net income margins here are sad compared to Nvidia. So we have a potential here where there might be more upside to revenue over the next few years than I have for my bull case. And there might be significantly more upside to net income margins over the next number of years than what I have here. So understand my bull case I'm showing you, which shows you the stock could produce incredible returns, it could be conservative. What if AMD gets to 30% net income margins, 35%? I haven't even factored that in under my bull case. So what I'm showing you right now might actually end up being low. Just keep that in mind. But this is still, I'd rather be conservative under my bull case, right? And this puts a stock at $1,000 plus stock come 2029. Okay. What about my base case for AMD stock? In my base case, this is just a fancy way of saying what I actually expect. I expect them to do 35% revenue growth per year on average for the next 4 years. Okay. 45% net income growth. Once again, 22% net income margins. Of all of my numbers, that might be the one that's the most low. I look at 22% net income margins, and I'm like, dang, man. Like, based upon what I'm seeing from Nvidia, I'm like, there might be a potential AMD gets to like a 25 or 30% net income margin. There might. I don't want to bank on that, but that's the one number I'm like, I might end up being way off in regards to that. Like, they might push 20% net income margins sooner, like as in 2026, 2027. And then out here, they might be pushing 25 or 30% numbers. So if they're growing 35% top line, 45% bottom line, 50 to 60 P is very fair for a company like that. And we're talking about this is a stock, 3 or 4 years from now, that's a $700 to $900 stock, right? A stock that we can talk about, in 2026 probably goes 300 plus. And a stock we can talk about 2027 could go $400 or $500 a share, right? Under my base case. Now, my bear case, this would be a disaster for AMD. Only 20% revenue growth per year, 25% net income growth. Like, Lisa Su would be ashamed of herself, I'm sure. And the whole company would be ashamed of themselves if they only do those sorts of numbers. Puts them at net income margins of only 20% come 2029. And we could be talking about a stock that's basically flat over that time. But very low probability. What's the chances Lisa Su would not execute over this next 4 or 5 years? Based upon everything I'm looking at, they're executing on a very, very high level. So I have no disbelief that they're not going to pull this off. I think they're going to do it. And here's the thing. You got to ask yourself. It's not just belief in yourself, not just belief in Lisa Su, but every single big tech company in the world is going out of their way to show up at NVIDIA presentations and conferences to talk about how great AMD is, all these things, right? They're not just going to do that for the fun of it. And also, they're not going to buy inferior tech. If AMD 400 series wasn't all that, these companies wouldn't buy it. even if it meant keeping Nvidia's pricing at bay, because it just wouldn't, like, they wouldn't be going all in all these chips and buying this ridiculous amounts, because at the end of the day, it would be useless to them, right? Or not very useful, at least. They're only going to do that if the product's really like that. And when you got the high-ranking executives of all these big tech companies saying they got it, I think it matters. When you got an Elon Musk saying, you know what, they're now good with small and mid-sized models, an important statement, right? When you got all these big tech companies saying, we're using AMD, we're partnering with AMD, we want to go all in AMD, I think it's important. Very, very important, right? These companies know what they want, more than I know, more than you know, right? At the end of the day, like, we're not the executives of these companies making these big purchase decisions. I would love to just start a chip company tomorrow and, Meta's like, oh, we're going to buy $1 billion of your chips, Jeremy, just because, we like you. Like, no, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen in the real world. They're only going to do it if you really got it like that. And they really got it like that. So in regards to your shares, I had Adobe Firefly. I said, make me a kid holding a teddy bear, really tight. That's what you need to do with your shares of your stock, right? And of course, my middle son, he saw me doing this and he's like, no, take a picture of me. I want to be famous, Dad. I'm like, that's little Jeremy there. Okay, that's little Jeremy, I call him, because he reminds me so much of myself. It's disgusting. But in regards to this matter, right? You got to understand, like, why am I not taking any profits in the Patreon portfolio, public count, private portfolios? Why would I? I own a stock that every single Wall Streeter is going to want to own over the next 12 to 24 months. Pay me. Pay me a lot more than what I'm at right now. I'm not interested in selling at this price. Not $250. No, thank you. For a lot of newer investors to market, they get scared. I know people that sold out of AMD at 150. I know people that sold out of AMD at 150 a few months ago. Because they were like, stock's moved. It's up a lot from April. I'm out, right? And it did. That was a big move. It went from like $80 a share to 150. Like, that's a big move. Now the stock's 250. It's on its way to 350, right? And if they execute on a high level over this next few years, they'll go to a $500 to $1,000 stock. So I'm holding it like a little kid holds their teddy bear, tight. And I'm like, I'm not interested in selling right now. There's certain time periods when you're in one of those stocks that everybody wants it, you hold that baby tight. And make them pay you top dollar for that. And top dollar is not 150 and top dollar is not 250. I'm sorry, it's just not. Not based upon the numbers this company should put up over the next number of years. It's not even close to being enough. It's not even close to being enough. If AMD was 500 today, I'd say, okay, I'll cash a little bit. Keyword, a little bit. Not I would cash everything. You told me I could have $500 today and I couldn't buy AMD stock back. I wouldn't take it right now. If I was forced to sell all my shares, I would sell some though. I would sell some. You give me 500 today, I'm saying, okay, I'll cash some. But I'm not cashing them all. Not even at 500. So you think I'm going to cash them at 250? No. Pay me. Every Wall Streeter, every hedge fund is going to want in this stock. You know why? Because they're going to come through with the insane growth rates. And everybody's going to be like, whoa, AMD's really coming through like that. And where else are you going to get those insane growth rates? You're not going to get them at Nvidia anymore. Nvidia's on a major revenue growth deceleration phase now. And it's going to continue like that. So Nvidia is still going to have really good revenue growth next year. And then 27, we're going to be talking about a company that is going to struggle to even grow double digits revenue. AMD is not going to have any trouble growing double digits anytime soon. They're going to be growing double-digit percentage revenue all the way into the 2030s. It's just a question of how high up do they push it. Do we start talking about AMD next year's pushes revenue growth 40%, 50%, 60%, 70%, 100%? No one's ready for that. No one is ready for that. If AMD starts all of a sudden coming through with a quarter where the revenue is up 90% year over year, no one's prepared for that. If Nvidia blows this next quarter out of the water when it comes to their revenue and then their guidance, and remember, Lisa Su doesn't mess around with guidance. She puts out a number that she's confident the team's going to beat. She never just like puts out some crazy number and it's like, oh, it's a disaster. Like we totally missed our numbers. No. So if AMD comes out and says, we're thinking we're going to do this number and it's way above the street, and it's Lisa Su putting out that number who you know is going to come through with it, AMD will push 300 like that. So you hold these shares tight and make them pay you big money for them. because they all want them. And they're not going to pay $300 for them unless they're very confident the stock's going to 500 or more. They're not gonna just be like, wow, the stock went from 80 to 250 to 275 to 300. Like, let's go ahead and let's buy these shares because we're gonna make $1 on them. No. They would only buy AMD after this massive move if they're confident there's going to be another massive move ahead. And that's what great companies do, especially when they've been thrown out. I just showed you a long list of them. AMD's done this before. It went from 2 to 12. And it went from 12 to 25. And it went from 25 to 100, right? And now it's a $250 stock on its way to being a $300 or $400 stock before you know it. And then, so there'll be a time when it makes sense for me to cash AMD shares. Might be a year from now. Might be 6 months from now. It might be 6 years from now. But there will be a time it'll make sense to start cashing AMD shares, but it's not right now. I have no interest in cashing right now. Talk to me a year from now, after you've started to see massive revenue growth acceleration. And the great thing for AMD is really, regardless of with the stock market short term, regardless of the business cycle short term, AMD is going to come through with the numbers. If things get even tougher for the big tech companies, and things aren't tough, like they make so much money, it's disgusting. But if they were put into a situation where they had to watch margins and watch spend a little bit, AMD's even more well positioned for that because they're undercut in price, right? So it doesn't matter what happens. Lisa Su's, I think she's played a masterful game of chess here. And I think everybody's going to start to see that over the next 1 to 2 years and be like, oh, freak, like she's really the queen. Like she really Jensen played a masterful game of chess as well, right? But everybody acknowledges that. There's no one on this planet that says, oh, Jensen didn't. No, he did amazing. He was a king, right? He set his whole game up, did phenomenal. But Lisa Su's been working as well. And now we're going to find out she's the queen piece of this whole chess set. And it's like, oh, shoot. People they're not even on to this yet. They start to realize it when the numbers start to hit. That's the thing. A lot of Wall Street doesn't get it until the numbers start to hit. That happened with Meta. That happened with SoFi. That happened with Palantir. That happened with Celsius, Elf, all these different stocks that have been, huge winners over time. It happened with Nvidia when the numbers start to hit. Like no one cared anything about what Jensen was up to and his AI ambitions. No one cared about that in 2022. The stock sold off 50%, went down 50%. No one was talking anything about AI. They didn't care anything about that. Then when all of a sudden ChatGPT started to take off, and then everybody and their grandma started to want Nvidia chips, then all of a sudden, when the revenue started to hit, then all of a sudden, people are like, oh man, like, wow, Jensen, great work. Like, we're buying your stock, right? And the stock goes up 1,200% since then. But it's not until the numbers start to come through that everybody's like, okay, you got it. Keep that in mind, folks. Hold them like a teddy bear as tight as you can and make them pay you top dollar for it. Top dollar, okay? I appreciate y'all for joining me as always. Thanks so much for being here. Once again, if you're looking to join my private stock group, private wealth group, before we limit that massively starting in January, that will be the pinned comment down there. We've got huge limits on that, going up massively on price next year, and then for new members, and then also next year, we're going to limit to 100K plus net worth, okay? All right, guys, much love. Appreciate you. Hope you enjoyed this, and have a great day.